needed some flooring for my shop, so I decided to go this route. Basically, it's peel and stick PVC tile. This one, to get away from the light, has a wood pattern. Basically, you just peel off the back, stick it down, rinse and repeat. It's a pretty cheap option. Needed 4 boxes, $72 a box. So that total was way cheaper than most other options. That's why I chose the stick tile. And it's just a shop anyway. It's going to get beat up. So we'll try cheap first. We can always put something over it, right? And there's one tip, which is why I kind of titled the video, watch this before you install it. I normally don't go with clickbait titles like that, but this is really a tip that I wish I would have known before I started. So that'll be the first clip, and then it'll pretty much go in sequence after that. Okay, although these tiles are pretty good, there will be some that the adhesive's not the greatest on, and they will raise up a little bit. So I would suggest before you start, get you some vinyl adhesive. And as you go along the rows, because a lot of these I could see that they weren't going to stick because I was laying them down. And I should have had some of this on hand, because then I could have kind of used this as I went along and I wouldn't have to come back and pry it up. Now what I'm using, just a wooden picnic knife. So nothing that should hopefully damage the tile, and it can hold it up. And the problem with this is the nozzle, it's pretty big, and this stuff is liquidy. So it just starts to come right out. I wish it was thinner. If I had like a syringe top, it would be perfect. So get you some of this and some blocks to distribute the weight, and something to weight it down. And it might take you a little bit longer, but overall in the end it'll save you the time of coming back and having to do all this. Okay, organizing these by the patterns is pretty difficult. So what I'm going to do is open all 4 boxes, try and match them up, and then try to come up with the layout pattern. Really, really hard to get it right with just doing it this way, so we'll see. All right, so that's my plan. Go through those stacks, pull them off, put like ones on top of like ones over there, and then try to come out with a layout pattern. Yep, on my last stack there, I think I've got them mostly separated out. It's really taken a long time. And I still have not figured out the pattern. I've got an idea. The ones in the rows there kind of make sense, but I haven't tried to go crossways and see how they're going to line up. So I mean, it's going to be a repeating pattern at least 3 times in the room per row or 2 rows. And I got 2 pieces over there, not sure where they go. In hindsight, I should have just went with a granite style tile, so I could have just put them down in any old fashion. It wouldn't have mattered, but hindsight's 20/20. All right, back to work. Well, it's coming along all right. I couldn't really find enough to make set patterns. So every once in a while I could come up with a pattern. So I just went with a completely random look, which I think is going to be fun. Then I don't end up with repeating patterns. It's just all random. Like every once in a while I'll get, like I said, 3 that go together, like this one goes into this one. Goes into this one, and then it kind of makes a pattern, but the rest is pretty much completely random, which I think's all right. There are some spots where the adhesive didn't take. I'm trying to put weights on it, but I figured I'd just finish, and then at the very end, if I've got some loose ones, I can peel it up and put a little construction adhesive tab underneath there, or just replace the towel altogether. So I'm not too overly concerned with it. And the nice thing about the little tiles are, if one of them gets damaged, then I can just peel it up and put a replacement tile in its spot. I'd say just over halfway. I think I'm gonna have enough with a couple of spares at the end. Not too much, so. Okay, so finished up on the floor. It's done. Pretty happy with it. If I ever did it again, there's a couple things I would have changed. One being the type of tile. I would have not gone with the wood pattern. But it came out okay. I just went completely random on it. And I would stagger the seams. I would not put all 4 corners in one spot. I would do kind of like this, where I made a mistake at first, but then it turned out to be good, where you actually stagger the joints. And I had to order some adhesive because some of the tiles stick real good and others, for some reason, I don't know, just maybe bad for the manufacturing. I'd say 98% of them stuck, and then there's just a couple that came up. So I wish I would have had some adhesive on hand so I could have done it the next day as I worked on the next rows. But I'll just go fix them one at a time and then put a weight on them. But yeah, I mean, it's an inexpensive way to get coverage, and it's just going to get banged up and destroyed. I got extra tile, so if something ends up getting super damaged, I can just rip it up and slap down another one. as opposed to if I just went with a whole rollout floor, it would have gotten pretty patchy. So hoping this pays off. We'll see. We'll come back and look at it in a year or two and see how she's holding up.